works. Our Father's grace always comes first. That pattern is never broken. But see, what did the religious folk of Paul's day do? They reversed it. And so everything that Paul says about the Torah is because they got the cart before the horse, if I can use a popular saying. So let's go back to this only verse that talks about a new heart. It says, a new heart also will I give you. Now, as we read this passage, I want you to notice something. I've got it underlined. A new heart also will I give you. A new spirit will I put within you. I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh. I will give you a heart of flesh. I will put my spirit in you and cause you to walk in my statutes, and ye shall keep my judgments and do them. I want you to notice that 5 times, some of you may be familiar with the number 5 in Scripture, the idea of grace. Okay? 5 times he tells you, I'm going to do this. And when we talk about Romans 6 and Romans chapter 7, the husband and you're no longer under the law, those kind of things that we'll get into later on in the week, you're going to see that this is what Paul is trying to say. Our Father always has to do the first work. You can't do the first work. I can't do the first work because of what Adam did, and we all come from Adam. And the only way you can get around that is to invent people that come from other planets, which a lot of people do. That's how they solve mysteries they can't figure out in the Bible. Well, they just came from outer space. Right? I have a very simple theology. I keep my theology in the Milky Way galaxy. It's just one of my little habits. Okay? I like to stay in our solar system. All right? I don't like to try to prove something by going outside the solar system where nobody can prove anything one way or another. Okay, what he's saying here is 5 times he tells you, I'm going to do this. And if you let me do that to you, for you, now you can keep my statutes, now you can keep my judgments, now you can keep my Torah. But if you're trying to keep my statutes and my judgments and my Torah, you're trying to do those without that new heart, you're cursed. Now that is Paul's message, period. Period. And some of our Western religious friends need to see that. Because right now, of course, they think we're all lunatics and, we're all from outer space. And it appears as if everything to them is Torah for us. But it's never been that way. 5 times he's going to do that because of what Adam did and keep my statutes. Ezekiel chapter 11, 19 through 20. Please turn there. Let's see these. We're going to go through a lot of scriptures. Ezekiel 19 through 20. I will give them one heart, and I will put a new spirit within you, and I will take the stony heart out of your flesh. Sound familiar? And I will give them a heart of flesh, that they may what? Walk in my statutes, keep my ordinances, and do them. And they shall be my people, and I will be their God. Yeshua's message to the religious people. Paul's message to the religious people. You're trying to produce fruit and you got no seed. It's really simple. You're trying to produce fruit with no seed. It doesn't work that way. You can grunt and groan and make all kinds of noises, and you can't produce an apple without an apple seed. If we have any apple whisperers in the crowd here, next time you talk to an apple, ask them, can you produce apples with no seed? Okay? No. It's a very simple thing. I don't know what it is about modern theologians. They just can't accept the simplicity that we are told is in the Messiah. They've got to make it so incredibly complicated, Jim, that you got to go to them to understand what it says. Can we see a little problem here? That is part of the problem. The Father designed His Word to be understood by the pauper to the king. By the one sitting on the throne or the one out there working in the field. They were designed to understand what the Scriptures are teaching. That's why the Bible says that when He turns a pure language, He's going to turn it, in Zephaniah 3 verse 9, He's going to turn it back to the people, not the pin-headed theologians. To the people. Why? Because ordinary people do ordinary things, and our Father took His Word and embedded it in the ordinary things that people do. Not theologians sitting in high towers. They are the problem. They've always been the problem. Now, I say this as someone on the inside, not on the out. I mean, my doctor's in biblical languages and Messianic studies, so I'm not someone, out there pointing the fingers at theologians and saying these things. I've been through these systems. I know what they're like, and I know what they do, and they are the problem. I'm not going to go into the whole pinhead thing. They've been bought off. Exactly right. Okay. Proverbs 4:23. We're going to go a little quicker, so if you can keep up with me, fine. But by the way, any PowerPoint that I have on any subject at all, even tonight, by the way, when we're done, the marketplaces are open tonight because obviously the first day is over. So the marketplace will be open tonight. I don't know how long. Someone has to. Yeah. Brian's going to make that. I was going to make that announcement anyway. So all I'm trying to say is anything that you may pick up at our table, the PowerPoints. If you want those, I'll be happy to send you the PowerPoints. So even this one, which will be there tonight as well. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. It's out of the heart of the issues of life. That's what you're going to see, and I think Brian alluded to it a little bit earlier, that when you investigate the word heart, which we're going to do here in a few minutes, but when you investigate it on your own, you're going to find out that from a rabbinical point of view in particular, especially if you go back to the Akkadian and Ugaritic languages, some of the dead languages, you'll find out that in their view, the heart was synonymous with the belly, the heart was synonymous with the liver, the heart was, the kidneys, and the heart was synonymous with the mouth. And as you begin to see that traditionally, over time, the heart was associated with all the things that subsequently come forth from the heart. They considered it part of it. Okay? And they see, so I'll just say, yes, if you can, because eventually I'm going to dehydrate up here. So, keep your heart. That's not sar in the Hebrew. To keep something. The idea is to preserve it, to watch over it and keep it. That's why you and I are called the Netzarim. We are called the Netzarim. Okay? Nazarenes. Okay, in English we would say Nazarene. The reason why his followers were called Nazarenes is because they preserved and kept, what do you think? They kept his ways. And they watched over their heart. And so all those little people, all those people that they called Nazarenes because of the original Nazarene. Yeshua. With all diligence, shamar, of course, is also the word for keep in Hebrew, which means to watch, to guard, to protect. All right, moving on. Got a lot of passages here. Why is it? Boy, it's just me. I have all this luck. Okay, Deuteronomy 30, 5-8. And Yahweh your God. Now, some of you have already figured out I use the word Yahweh. The reason why I use the word Yahweh is because I've always said it, Yahweh. I don't have any other reason other than that. Okay. I'm not going to go up here and give you a linguistic lecture on the fact Yahweh is the proper way to pronounce it. Okay? But I will tell you from a linguistic point of view that we have no way of knowing how to pronounce that. If you understand languages and how they work, okay, not just learning a little Hebrew, okay, learn how languages work, you know that we can't possibly know how to say it. And maybe we'll do that on the board a little bit later. Yahweh, my Elohim, will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it, and he will do you good. We're going to talk about that word good tomorrow. And multiply you above all thy fathers. And Yahweh, your Elohim, will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed to love Yahweh. You can see he's doing all of this. And then he says at the end, to do all his commandments, which I command you this day. Grace and Torah are interdependent. You can't have, in order to have life in the scriptures, you can't have one or the other. You have to have both in order to have life in scriptures. If you have the Torah but you don't have his grace, you're cursed. If you have his grace but you don't have the Torah, you're cursed. And I'm going to show you that in the natural things of creation, and of course also based upon what the words mean. The two are designed to work together. We are taught in traditional Christianity that we're supposed to, based upon an erroneous understanding of the allegory of Sarah and Hagar, we're supposed to send the two the opposite directions. That's the traditional understanding of the allegory of Sarah and Hagar. That Sarah is faith, and, oh, thank you. He brought me one too. Thank you. That Sarah is the faith part, and Hagar is the commandment part. And you got to separate the two. Now, if you read the allegory very carefully, the allegory is all about faith versus no faith. Not grace and Torah. Just another silly theological attempt to throw the commandments of God out the proverbial window. Grace and faith, or grace and Torah, were always designed to be one. See, the idea is how many witnesses do you have to have for something to be true? Two. But the key is the two have to agree.